Okay, take two. I didn't have the camera on the first time, so I've been sitting here talking to myself for the last 10 minutes. All right, so as my YouTube coach informed me, I probably would need to introduce myself to this video and probably going forward so that people get a better idea of who I am, so I don't look like some tinfoil hat wearing freak show on that certain people have made me out to be. So I'm Christopher Damron. I'm Stefanie Damron's father, the young lady that's missing in here in New Sweden, my daughter. We've been looking for her for going on 2 years now. And rather than certain people helping my family and having the best interest in my family, they want to nitpick at my past and who I used to be and look at certain aspects that, honestly, if you just look at where a lot of the opinions are coming from, common sense is going to tell you they're biased. And on this one, I'm going to start clean and simple with this flip phone that supposedly Chris Carson, that's my next door neighbor. That's he also has a YouTube channel. Not that I want to really promote him because I don't even know. I know what they're doing, but I don't want to be involved in it. But his name is Chris Carson. He's my next door neighbor. He's um he's a very questionable individual. Um, but he keeps bringing up this flip phone like it's some kind of weird technology. And honestly, it's not. Go to Walmart. Seriously, just go to Walmart, look up Straight Talk flip phone. They still sell them. Pick one up right now if I wanted to. That's the exact phone that my daughter had that day that she went missing. That's the phone that everybody's trying to figure out how it got hacked and all that other. That's the exact phone that I bought my father for years because I thought it was just a basic phone. Okay. But that phone is no weird technology. It's not blocked out or anything like that. It's still available. You can still buy it right at Walmart. Okay, that's the first thing. And that shuts that down right there because obviously, if you could buy the phone, there's still technology out there for it. And, the rest goes without saying. I'm not going to stoop to his level because I'm not here to chase views. Second thing, and this I'm talking about against my wife's betterment. I'll probably be sleeping on the couch for talking about this one, but I'm sick and tired of my wife getting dragged through the mud over something stupid I did, not her. I did it. When we were in Texas, I was still smoking marijuana, medical. I have ankylosing spondylitis. My spine, my hip, everything's fusing up. I use marijuana so that I don't use painkillers because I have children. I cannot be doped up and be a zombie on painkillers with children. That's just not acceptable. I can smoke a joint in the outhouse or I can go outside and smoke a joint and I'm good to go with my kids for a few hours. But Texas is not a medical marijuana state, and in all honesty, they're very extremely harsh on it. And well, that night I had promised my wife that I would take the kids out to McDonald's, and the kids had overheard me, and they were throwing a fit. They wanted their McDonald's. Daddy had promised them McDonald's. So I had Austin, and I had the little baby with me, and that's the I believe it was Momo. Yes, it was Mo. Mo was a little tiny, tiny thing. And Austin was just a knee high to a grasshopper, as a matter of fact, at that time too. But Leah took the kids in the car in the Walmart. She was going to buy them a little treat and get them a little thing at that little McDonald's thing in the front, just something to hold them over until we got closer to the house because we were doing grocery shopping that night and doing a bunch of things, and just didn't want to do it until I was headed home. So she ran into a Walmart and I had a joint tucked down, and I was like, okay, nobody's around, kids are in there, wife's not here. I hurried up and I smoked it. I didn't see him until it was too late. An off-duty Rusk police officer came through the parking lot in a cruiser. Now, Walmart, they the Walmarts down there, they hire private security, and sometimes it just so happens to be local police departments, and that's all I assumed it was. I didn't think absolutely anything about it. I hurried up, put my joint out and everything, and waited for the kids to come out. Well, Lee came out with the kids. We got the kids loaded up, went and did our little bit of grocery shopping and everything. And on my way out from Nacogdoches, decided to take the back way through Rust because there was a lot of beautiful country back through there. And hey, good time to go riding. It was hot out, going home, I'm gonna sit in the house and be hotter and miserable anyways, roll the windows down and give the kids AC 360. And that's what we were doing. Well, it got to the time where we were just about to head home, and we were going to Rusk, and there was McDonald's. Well, naturally, I stopped, and we were all going to go in McDonald's and everything. Ended up, Mo needed a diaper change. Austin wasn't feeling good, so Lee decided to wait in the car with the kids. I jumped out of the car, not thinking of nothing about it, and ran in and went to buy McDonald's for the kids that night. Well, while I was in McDonald's, I didn't recognize him at first because it just was one of them flashes. There was the cop from Walmart in Nacogdoches sitting in the parking lot next to my wife. Next thing I know, 3 more cruisers in the parking lot surrounded us. I've got weed in my pocket. Didn't realize there was a roach in the ashtray of the car. And by the time I got my food and everything, I walked out of McDonald's thinking, okay, I'm just going to deal with this. Maybe there was something wrong with the plate. Maybe inspection sticker ran out. I didn't know. I thought it was something simple, something stupid. By the time I walk out, they're yanking my wife out of the car, slamming me against the car. It was just one ugly situation. It happened so bad and so terrible. I don't even really want to talk about it. But in the end, when it was all done and said, I was charged with possession of a controlled substance. My wife was charged with reckless endangerment of a minor. Here's why my wife was charged with reckless endangerment of a minor. In the state of Texas, the way Rusk, whatever county, whatever that was, the DA over there decided to play this card was the fact that since I was in the vehicle, I had marijuana in my pocket. There was a roach in the ashtray. As far as they were concerned, my wife was just as guilty for letting me in the vehicle and endangering the children by me being in the vehicle. So simply put, by my wife allowing me in the vehicle with the marijuana in my pocket and leaving the roach in the ashtray, she was guilty of reckless endangerment. That's all my wife did. Now, was I stoned? I was stoned out of my mind. Was my kids in danger? No. Was it a cop with a hard on that found a golden ticket? Yes. That's all that was. One thing led to another. They ended up going to jail for 30 days. Well, in the process of going to jail for 30 days, certain things happened. I lost my kids for 6 months. They twisted that because I was in jail, couldn't take care of my kids. So they took my kids. Now, in the state of Texas, it takes 18 months to get your children returned. Well, within 6 months, I had my children returned, and I had the courthouse apologizing to me for even getting involved in my life. Polk County got under a lot of in trouble and everything, and there was a young lady down there in Texas who ended up helping us through CASA, and she was the one who actually blew the whole thing open just to how ignorant it was. And she, as a matter of fact, the funny thing about that is she's still part of my wife's life. They're still very close friends, and they still talk. We're friends on Facebook and everything like that. But once I got out of jail, 6 months. The way I got my kids back in 6 months, me and my wife went to the classes. Classes were mandatory every 30 days. They didn't want to let us take our classes, but every 30 days. There was 3 classes we had to take every month. Now, these classes were offered every week during the month, but you could only take them once. So we talked to our CASA caseworker, we talked to the judge, we talked to a bunch of other people. We ended up getting it worked out to where we were taking our classes once a week. Every week we were there, 3 times a week. I'm disabled, my wife doesn't work, we weren't doing nothing. Let's go to the classes, let's get it done. 6 months time, boom. Class is taken care of. We showed up for the judge. Judge looked at the judge. Judge said, or I looked at the judge and I told the judge, I says, Your Honor, he said I need to complete these classes and mandatorily pass so many drug tests. I failed the first drug test. That was going without saying because hair follicle don't lie. But by the time those 6 months had passed, my piss was clear. I was on probation, getting tested every month, sometimes twice a month, surprise, everything. So I had them up my ass sideways. 6 months, had my kids back. No problems, no questions. Living just like we do now in a portable building, a lot better off situation because it was we had actually took a portable building and turned it into a house. We were better situated. But that's the situation that we lost our kids for 6 months. That's on paperwork. It's everywhere on paperwork. And you guys, whatever's public information is just enough to give you the basics. It don't give you the details. Okay. But 18 months to get our kids back. We took it and got it back in 6 months. No questions asked, never failed a drug test, no problems with probation, no problems with CPS, no problem with classes, never missed nothing. We were there. We got our kids back in 6 months. Our kids belonged home with us. That's where we were going to return. No questions asked. Got our kids back. No stipulations when they were returned. No questions asked. Not even a stipulation. Just expect a surprise visit. No problem. Surprise visits. Hey, this is CPS. But since Billy wants to keep poking his nose in this shit, let's talk about CPS. Let's talk about how bad CPS really is. When me and Lee first got together, there was a situation. First off, me and my wife got together because of Billy. She was in a real bad situation. She had to have call the cops, have him removed from the house. That's public record too. Has anybody done any research on Billy Harshon? Or his underage? Well, she ain't underage now. She was extremely underage when him and his wife in Georgia got together and they pronounced a baby. Or the fact that my wife now, when she got with Billy, she was underage. Let's talk about that, Billy. Okay. Now, let's talk about CPS in West Virginia. Because I've never had these bad experiences you guys have had with CPS. I mean, they're hard asses. You don't fuck around with CPS. There's just no nice way to put it. You do what they say, or you lose your kids, or your life gets miserable, or you end up in jail. CPS can end up with you in jail. But either way, the night that Billy was removed from the house, she called me up and told me she needed a place to stay. I was like, no problem. I didn't expect nothing in return. Me and her had been talking. We'd become friends. It was more of a confidant to confidant kind of thing. And well, she calls me up that night and telling me that she had to have Billy removed from the house and everything. And well, I'm not gonna go into the gritty details of it. She showed up at my house. We both basically agreed that, hey, you got kids, I want kids, you know, you got this ideal about this, I got this ideal. Why don't we just see what happens? That first year, I'm going to tell you, two people getting together that don't know anything about each other, that are two total differences. That first year was interesting between me and her. That was the year Stefanie was born. That was the year that everything got better. But during that time, somehow or another, like I said, I'm not going to accuse or point fingers. Somehow or another, a situation with Billy had came out, and CPS got involved again. And one of the kids had actually said something to somebody, and it got turned real ugly. During that exact same time, his oldest daughter, Nicole, who just walked by me, she's my daughter now, not even his, but she got real bad sick. Come to find out that she had eaten pizza that had been in the refrigerator for about a month and a gallon of milk that had curd on it. This came from Austin. Austin told me about it. She ended up with salmonella, botulism, some real bad yeast infections, and other little things that little girls get that I don't know nothing about, really don't want to know about. Things I take them to the doctor or mom for kind of things. And, well, she ends up in the hospital for 2 weeks. I sat with that baby in that hospital for 2 weeks. You know how many times Billy showed up? None. Didn't show up the first time. Okay. But what started this whole situation with Billy was the fact that my wife found out that he was doing some really inappropriate things when she was at work, like sneaking off up to Pennsylvania to go see other women, watching porn with the kids running around the house on the PC. A lot of wonderful things. Billy's a great person. Okay. So that's that situation with Billy. But this stuff in Rust, I fucked up, not my wife. Shit, most women would have probably left my ass for that whole situation. My wife ended up on probation for 6 months, ended up with a record for the rest of her life. She's never even been in jail. She's never even been in jail. She literally cried for 30 days straight because she had never been in jail. I mean, I literally had to talk to the guards and everything to put me in a private cell across from her just so I could try to keep her comforted enough to where she didn't have a nervous breakdown. Okay. The only this and that was one comment that Chris made, that my wife is supposed to be the evil one. No, my wife's not the evil one. The evil one is me. I can define evil just in my pure, and the reason is because of my children. I will straight up go evil on you over my children. And you have done that, Chris. This pushing this CPS, pushing this phone shit. Go to Walmart, look up Straight Talk flip phone. I can go pick up one right now, curbside pickup. The shit down in Rust, that's on me. I was the dumbass who thought I could get away with smoking a joint in public in the state of Texas. Texas has got the harshest laws there is on marijuana. I mean, and it's strict. I mean, I've got family down there that's black, and when I go down to Shelby County, I can't even ride over to the next county to pick up beer with my stepfather because he's black and I'm white. We will get pulled over as soon as we pull into Shelby County just because of the fact that I'm black and he's white, and it's suspicious. Texas does have reasonable suspicion law. They don't need a reason. They can drive by your house, smell marijuana coming out your door, and they can come in your door. That's Texas. So my dumb ass thinking I could get away with smoking a joint, that was just pure stupidity on my part. The rest of it that happened, my wife's record, all that, no, that ain't her. She didn't have nothing to do with it. That's on me. Um, but I'm trying to keep these videos at 15 minutes. So later on this evening, after the kids go to bed, I'll make another one because this one's 17 minutes. But you need to look at the whole situation because my wife don't have nothing to do with this. The flip phone, you can still buy it at Walmart. The CPS ain't nothing compared to what Billy's got on. You guys want to listen to Billy? Go ahead. Do what I did. Well, matter of fact, I do it on everybody. I've got a running been verified account now because there's some interesting characters in New Sweden. I don't see none of them as a threat. I see Chris as an anomaly, and I wouldn't trust my kids alone with them. I mean, what man has a doll made just to look like them? That's issues. That's major issues. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it because you know you think your camera's gonna do y'all this good and everything, Chris. I'm not gonna come on your property. I'm not that damn dumb. I don't want to do the time in jail. I mean, we'll deal with it like men, not, you know, I'm not going to come over there on your property. I live in New Sweden. Why am I going to show my ass here? I mean, this is my home. I've earned my place here. I keep back here in my woods. I don't even have nothing to do with half these people. Half these people wouldn't even know I'm back here. You're the one who came back here. You're the one who came basically to my cave and poked this bear. And this bear ain't, this ain't, I mean, we're messing with my kids. That's why I'm talking about this CPS situation. You're talking about a man that literally got his kids back in 6 months when it was supposed to take 18 months minimum. Okay? You need to ask yourself, Chris, to what limits, or I'm trying to choose my words better, to what extremes will I go to protect my children? I mean, because just whatever happened to Stefanie, pray to God the cops find them before I do. Because when it comes to that, I'll do 99 years laying flat on my back over Stefanie. And if I found out that you had something to do with her, Chris, and it's really starting to look like it, because I can't prove it, but about a week before Stefanie went missing, I let her borrow a hoodie of mine. And everybody in my family remembers the hoodie I let her borrow. It was a solid black hoodie with camouflage sleeves. I can even describe the material because it's a very interesting material out of that hoodie. And the funny thing about it is that very hoodie that went missing, your wife is seen with it on in a picture. I'm not saying nothing because I can't prove nothing, but I think it's kind of odd. The more that I look without an opinion, like you look, I'm looking at you just like you look at me, brother. I mean, we're both brothers. We both underneath his sky. Whether you call him the Great Spirit, God, Godfather, whatever you want to call him, we're still under the same sky. So if you're going to look at me like this, why can't I look at you like that? You know, you want to talk about CPS? Let's talk about CPS. Because there's some things that's out there that it just makes me scratch my head about you, Chris. But I'm gonna make another video later. Let's talk about your Second Amendment right. But for now, I'm gonna lay down and take a nap while my kids ain't home because I stay up all night long, like I said, and I take care of our little pellet stove because it runs like just like a wood burner and keep the house about 80 degrees all fucking winter long. So don't matter if electricity goes out, don't matter none of that. Kids stay warm, my electricity stays on. But yeah, that's the end of this video. But we'll talk about it, Chris. We will eventually talk about it. But no, I'm not bringing cookies to your house again. I did that once. It made me look like an idiot because I knew better. I'm not the type to cross a person's private property. I just don't do that. I have too much respect for property lines. I'm on my kids all the time to stay up our driveway just so we don't wander on Doug's. It's like over here, Doug owns both sides of the piece of property. I make sure I keep my kids down our little double lane shotgun track. But I'm not going to cross your property lines. I'm not going to threaten you. None of that. Because I don't feel like going to jail. You know, because if I'm going to jail, you're going to jail with me. That's a guarantee. So, guaranteed, I will not go on your property. I will not pull a gun on you. I'm never going to pick up a weapon. That's just not, it's not worth it. That's just stupid to no level. When we talk, we'll talk. Now, how the conversations ends, that's a different story. But it's going to start out as a conversation. And where you want to take it from there, and whether you want to apologize when you're done or not, that's up to you. But I guarantee you, you will apologize for what you said about my wife and my kids. Because your wife, she don't hold a candle to my wife. You know, and I hope I don't piss off any of the women folk out there, but us men folk know what we're talking about. You look at a woman, you can tell when they sit on their ass a lot. Let me tell you, Chris, your wife spends a lot of time sitting. That's just, it's facts. Sorry, brother. She spends a lot of time sitting. She needs to do something about it. But have a good day, Chris. Hope we see each other soon. God bless you, brother.